All right, day two. So, yesterday we talked a little bit about the diagnosis and that sort of thing. But what I want to talk about today is the beginning stages. So, I was in my early 40s, and we had, like I mentioned yesterday, we had some direction or some suggestion, advice from work and from our professional organization to start getting screened early. So, fortunately, my medical team, my doctor specifically, my family doctor specifically, he suggested that we go and do the blood testing and look at the PSA. So that was great. And the first few times out, no problem at all. Eventually, though, over a few years, the PSA started going up. So the PSA number is a prostate-specific antigen, and it's a number that should remain fairly steady. It will generally go up a bit by bit, year on year, but not a lot. When it increases or it goes up dramatically in any given time period, that's when you know that there's potentially an issue. So I must have been about 46 at about the time, maybe 47, but probably 46 anyways. And the number started going up. And the doctor said, this is something to start being concerned about. I'm going to send you to a urologist. So he sent me to a guy that was just upstairs from where his office is. And this doctor has been just as good, treated me just as well, understood exactly what my doctor was trying to suggest to him by sending me there. And he sent me for more tests over another year or so. And the numbers steadily climbed up to the point where he recommended that I get my first biopsy. The biopsy. If and when you are recommended to get a biopsy, just prepare yourself. It's not an awesome thing. So, conversation is going to get somewhat graphic right now for those of you with queasy stomachs or if you've got little kids listening, but it's important to know what you're up against. So the prostate biopsy is basically what they do is you have to arrive at the hospital or at the clinic with a clean bowel and system. So you got to give yourself a flush, clear foods and fluids for a day or so beforehand, and then flush yourself out. And I mean, it's an awesome process. And I told you in the first one that some of this stuff is gross, but it's life-saving gross. So anyways, so they lay you on a table and expose your rear end, and they stick this tube with a camera attached to the end of it up there, and they look for your prostate. And they've got a video screen. Once they locate the area, they send another instrument up the middle of the tube, and that instrument snaps basically through your lining and into the prostate, and it grabs a sample of tissue. They can grab anywhere from 6 to 20 samples. I suppose my doctor specifically had asked for 12, so they targeted 12 different areas of the prostate and took those samples. The fallout from that, it absolutely sucks. It hurts. It's not pleasant. It's as bad as it probably sounds to those of you who haven't experienced it yet. And for those of you that have experienced it, you know what I'm talking about. For the next several days, you're pissing and crapping blood. And then, of course, your sex life is diminished greatly because, what comes out of your in your pee comes out of the other things too, right? So, there's a period of time and healing where you're just not the normal guy that you were yesterday. And it takes some time. Told you, not pleasant. Anyways, carrying on. That biopsy came back negative. Nothing was showing. The doctor was pleased with that. However, still concerned that the numbers kept climbing up, or creeping up, I guess would be a better word. Climbing sounds very dramatic. So fast forward another 2 years, we've been steadily dealing with it again. This is why I'm doing this, is to encourage those of you who are maybe on the fence or who haven't thought about it or who haven't given it much thought, that this is totally necessary stuff. So 2 years goes by, and the numbers have been creeping up. And he says, we need to check things out. Like, it just doesn't make sense. So the next step, he figured this time, he ordered an ultrasound, and a lot more pleasant, obviously, than the biopsy procedure. But you're still, as an almost 50-year-old male in a male dominated type work industry and kind of an alpha kind of guy in sports and all that stuff. It's a shock to the ego and the systems that you've always lived with. But anyways, you go and you do this MRI, and they're taking pictures of your pelvis area, and they're hoping to find something. And when the results came back from that, there was nothing there. No sign of anything bad, no sign of anything in the way or growing or anything like that. So, I left that last doctor's appointment thinking, okay, well, I just am one of those unfortunate guys that has a higher PSA. And that's just the way it was. I did some research, and yeah, for sure, there are people who have hereditary or proclivity to have a higher PSA. So I just figured I was probably one of those guys. However, the doctor didn't think the same thing. So another 2 years of steadily climbing, bit by bit, and the doctor says, okay, he says, I got to do another biopsy. And I'm thinking, yeah, awesome. I know what that's like. I really didn't want to do it, I'll be honest. I've got way better things to do with my time than to go through that again. But, at the end of the day, I decided that, I've just got to do it. And that's just what I'm encouraging all of you to do. You just got to do it. So again, went through the same procedure and the same fallout, and it was bad. But ironically, my scheduled time, because sometimes you're up to the clinic's schedule, you got to go when you got to go. I had already booked a time to go away with my dad to on a short little guy's vacation, and so anyways, we left regardless, and whatever. I wasn't feeling the greatest about it, but it heals up pretty quick, and it is what it is, and put it out of your mind and carry on with life, right? Unfortunately, when I was on that trip is when I got the phone call from my doctor, and he said, I'm sorry to tell you, but you have tested positive. You do have some cancerous growth in your prostate. Not awesome news. I wasn't super surprised, disappointed to say the least, but not super surprised. So, that's where we're going to leave it here for the day. We're up to, pretty close to where we're at now. There was the family stuff, and maybe I'll talk about that in my next video. But there's the family stuff, and just dealing with it emotionally and personally. But we'll talk about that tomorrow or the next day. And I just hope that the information I've shared with you so far, although fast and quick and dirty, is good information for you. And please, this is why I'm doing this. I'm bearing myself, for those of you who haven't thought about it, or who are nervous about it, or who just plain don't want to do it. I'm encouraging you to get yourself screened, at least check your PSAs, and then move on from there. Follow your doctor. They've seen this all before. They know it. And as embarrassing as some of it might be, as personally invasive as some of it truly is, it's worth it. All right. So catch you tomorrow. And thank you for listening. Bye for now.